So, Alex, we've got a few questions popping up in the chat room.
Okay, cool.
And we have a couple who have met in the chat here. Aside from myself and Becky here. But
well, I love the Q&A. Please do.
Yeah. So, this is from Federico. What can you say about beings from Cygnus B? You say you've seen them. What do they look like?
I saw two, and that's where I was told they were from. One of them was wearing a suit, and inside the suit there was physical structure, and I was told that they were primarily helium. Their physicality had a very high concentration of helium, what we would call helium. And in order to be in the physical space where they were with on Mornay's craft, this one had to wear a suit. The suit was of a color I've never seen before. I couldn't even begin to describe it. But it had texture, and it had a very depth of color to it. It had insignia on it I cannot explain, nor could I even begin to recognize. This particular being in the suit was somewhere in the 8 to 9 foot range. And when I don't even know the gender, if it even had a gender. I don't know what that was. But when it moved, it slid its feet. It didn't actually lift its legs. It slid very easily, almost as if it could float in this suit. Next to it was another being that also I could not tell of the gender, but it didn't wear a suit. But it had a feminine sense to it, or I could say that my first perception was that it was feminine in nature, and it was almost ghost-like. And I was told that it was plasmic, that particular type of being was plasmic. Now, the being that was plasmic lived on a star, or within a star, in Cygnus. The other being that had the suit, they lived inside of a planet. They were Hyperborean. And they only wore the suit when they left their world. That's all I know about them. That's all I know.
Wow, that's an incredibly different physicality and reality to them.
Completely different than anything that there was that one time that Mornay and Theseus were talking, or I should say Mornay's crew was talking to a sixth density or several sixth density beings. There was one specifically in the forefront, and they were observing my interaction with Mornay and Theseus. And I was aware of it, and I didn't know what to do. And the whole time that this was occurring, I saw myself keep looking at this being because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to expect. And I would hear Mornay say to me over and over again, telepathically, calm down. It's okay. They're just here observing. They're not here for you. They're just here to observe. And I'm like, okay, because first I was, am I in trouble or something? And he just kind of chuckled, and he smiled. He didn't chuckle. He smiled at me, and he just said telepathically, it's okay. And then he engaged me and Theseus in a conversation, which took my attention away from this being. Now, I couldn't see the being when I looked straight at him. He just wasn't there. even though the space that he filled was open, I could not see him. And that's because my mind simply could not comprehend this type of being. However, when I was looking at the Theseus or Morinae, from my peripheral, at a very specific angle, I could see what looked like his physicality, at least the front of his physicality, and it appeared to be a male of sorts. Very angular looking being, sharp features, but other than that, everybody else that I've seen were either A's or twice I saw P's at a great distance when they were on the mothership, but they didn't interact with me at all. They looked, and there was an acknowledgement of the fact that I was there, but there was no interaction at all in any way. Other than that, almost everyone that I met was an A. Light blue or very, very pale white, varying in ages. I enjoyed the children immensely.